Hello, everybody. My name is Juniper Bloom Mystique. I am in simple terms, an Ascension master, master healer, and a divine guide. Today, I have something very important to talk about. The Ascension, what the Ascension truly is, which, excuse me, I have very long hair. In essence, is that a blooper? Is the return of Christ. And I am the one who brought it about. Now, bear with me, because if you actually listen to this video, you might actually see what I'm talking about, okay? All of it, what I've done has been recorded and witnessed and played out on this channel, this very channel that you find yourself on. So I encourage you to like and subscribe, or even just at least watch them, then maybe subscribe and stick around, because being that I brought it about, I want everybody to ascend. Now, I know that may be futile attempt, but I still want everybody I can to ascend. So all I'm asking is that you just watch the whole thing and see what you find. Okay, then you can judge or think maybe this girl's crazy or whatever it is you come to the conclusion to, because I'm going to show you some things. I'm going to show you some things that I've done, and I'm going to explain to you why I'm saying the things that I'm going to be saying to you. Okay, now, what does it mean when I say I brought about the Ascension? Now you guys are going to kind of get ready with me too, because I just got out of the shower, but I wanted to get this video done because I have a really awesome workshop course starting tonight for balance from the heart space and joy and prosperity, because recently I cleared the Nile. And that is biblical, and the gates of heaven opened, and they gave me all these gifts, and they said that we should be living abundantly. Now, within each portal, there's a test. Okay, I've talked about the 12 gates to heaven. I'm going to talk about that a little bit again today. That has just been what's been coming through recently. Okay, is the Nile dried up? I've talked about the downloads they have given me of the 12 gates of heaven, what it takes to get through them, because it is a rite of passage to ascend. The Ascension truly is the return of Christ. I had the download about the Ankh come through right before all that came through. But before I get to that part, I'll give you a little bit of insight into how it began. In 2019, I had a Kundalini awakening that I didn't understand. It was bigger than I was, and I couldn't get a lot of people to explain what was going on to me, with me, because first of all, most people probably didn't even understand either. It was kind of nuts, right? It was kind of crazy, and it was all of a sudden like I couldn't live in the world anymore. Everything was so weird. I entered like every dimension all at once, and that's exactly, truly, in essence, what happened. If you don't know what a Kundalini awakening is, they're very powerful. Certain individuals can have them. Not everybody was meant to. I think as we rise, more people will have access to that, especially. But anyways, that's where it started. And then all of a sudden I was like, this is cool, and trying to understand what was happening to me. I would get downloads of images and things, like the Bible being one of them. And there would be words that would pop off the pages. I don't talk about every little thing because it was so much. You have to consider I had things happening to me daily since 2019. Okay. Things were happening to me daily, like no joke. So crazy things. Where it started, I was just guided to meditate. I was not spiritual before. Close my door. I was not doing this stuff prior. Okay, I was working in the psychological field. And so trauma kind of caused me to go within to heal. I just wanted to feel better. I just wanted to allow my heart to stop breaking for a moment, due to a loss and a lot of trauma that I was experiencing. So I ended up going within my body just to heal, and I sparked this Kundalini awakening by following my intuition and doing whatever felt right. And then my whole world changed. Then I started doing things like I went into meditation. No, I was doing healings, exchanges, and things also. So everything has been witnessed and recorded, most everything. There were a few things in the very beginning that weren't yet, because Spirit hadn't told me to yet. So the only reason I do this channel is because Spirit nudged me to do it. They nudged me to create Hertz music, which I'd never done. I taught myself how to do because they told me to, through free will. And I started doing missing persons and unsolved cases because they actually started happening to and through me. Not like I was searching to do it. So these things came to me. These things were nudging me. And so I just allowed them to be. God, I had this download when I first started that I wasn't like everybody else, and I was here to change the world. And what I exactly I heard, and it was from God, and I know it was. And it blew my mind. It took me 2 years to understand this, actually. And it's simple. Was you're not like everybody else. You're going to change the world. Allow yourself to be yourself. Accept every bit of who you are. Here's what it says. Because this was like 3 years ago now. 4 years ago. I don't know. It was right after I had my awakening. I was like, I'm here to, okay. Allow yourself to be yourself. Accept every bit of who you are. Change the world and watch the world change. That's what I was here to do. That's what I was here to do. It's like, you're not like everybody else. That's what I heard. And you're supposed to, I wrote it down in one of my journals. This is why you should always write things down. But allow yourself to be yourself. You're not like everybody else. You've got to allow yourself to be yourself. Accept every bit of who you are. Change the world and watch the world change. And I'm like, what does that mean? At that time, I was like, what does that mean? That means I'm different. God dang it, I'm always different. And that's what I did for like a week. I had to argue about it because I was different upon different again. And I've always been different. And people treat you different when you're different. And so it sucks, you know? So I was upset about it and I didn't quite understand what that meant. I'm like, well, all right, I'll allow myself to be different, whatever that means. I will allow myself to accept myself, every bit of who I am. And I'm like, yeah, I was just doing these healings. I was starting to do these healings on people. And my healings are like crazy off the charts, right? I was doing things that I didn't understand. It's not like I just started doing them. Light, I draw light, I use light, it's Christ light. I didn't know that at first. Jesus would step in and do them with me. I didn't know that at first. This was part of my awakening. I was learning this as I was going. And I could like leave my body. It doesn't matter where I am. I can do them remotely. I can do them in person. Most of what I do is on Zoom. So, but in the beginning, it was through email. Like I would sit with they would give me permission. And then I would just go into meditation and my head would drop and I would leave my body. And I could see myself doing it. It's like this white mist that I become. And the next thing I know is I would be where those people were. And I could see them. They always give me some kind of marking so I can let them know that I would see them, like a shirt or something within the room that they're in, you know, and it's all through free will, of course. It's nothing like perverted or crazy, but I would see things and give them validations. Like I think one time I saw the person's blanket and her slippers and the color of it all and how it looked. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's on me right now. So you see what I'm saying? So I would get that. And then I would just draw up this light, and it was very clunky at first because it was just coming through me to do it. It's like I would get like almost like an image in my head and I would just do it. Same thing with the scrolls. I'll read these scrolls and this light language comes out of me. I just do it. I just surrender. It's having a clear channel. And so I really didn't, it was very overwhelming. I thought that's how I was going to change the world though, because I was healing things I didn't know that I could do. You know, when you think of healings, you always think it's like energetic based, chakras, healing the shadow, but I never realized that it could be way more than that too, right? Because again, I wasn't doing this before. So this is how my journey started. I thought the healings that I was doing, because I saw what caused Parkinson's disease. People would come to me and they're like, just need a healing. Something was always happening. People were just coming to me out of the blue. I wasn't like going, look what I can do. I was trying to understand what was happening to me. And this is true. I was just like dumbfounded. Everything was happening to and through me. I say that a lot because that's the truth. I was just simply following the nudges that I would get. And I was meditating a lot because that was new for me and it felt so good to do. So I was like, ooh, this is my medicine. And I'd worked in the psychology field. So I even put myself in counseling after the trauma, to see if that would help. And it didn't help. You know, I didn't want their medications and I did everything I'm supposed to do and it just wasn't helping. So that's what started my journey. I wanted to feel better. So I just followed my gut instincts, started going within my body, and that sparked everything. Okay. And it can do that for you too. What you get is for you, because everybody's journey is different. And then like literally I ended up having a lot of chaos ensue in my environment and had to move suddenly. I didn't know why at first. Little did I know spirit moved me 2 doors down from my DM. I was thinking the other day, I wonder if that would happen again. It'd be so cool. My first DM, which is my divine masculine, which is a twin flame, which became relevant on this ascension journey. But I didn't know that because everything was happening to and through me. So it started where I had to like learn who I could do these healings, which made sense because you heal yourself every time you do a healing for somebody else. And then I was also doing exchanges with the people that I was kind of figuring things out with through this academy that I found at the time to understand what was happening to me, which didn't really help in a lot of ways. Some ways it did. Other ways it was like I had to overcome a lot of naysayers and negative people and judgment from people through my whole journey. I did. Okay. But then all of a sudden these different things started happening to me. One of them happened because I would always get these things where I would have to go inside my body and figure out what's going on with me. And other people couldn't do it. That's how spirit was teaching me. Like all of a sudden I would feel mucky, or all of a sudden like I couldn't breathe, or my stomach would hurt so bad, you know, and I would have to figure it out. I ended up learning to heal myself that way. And then I was also healing others. And then while doing that, I would get like these weird upgrades. Like this one time I had to use my howlite crystal that I felt a nudge to purchase. And their crystals do work. I just called it through and I saw the energy at the time go into my solar plexus, into my body. I asked the crystal to help on this one. And because I tried to get healings from others and they couldn't help me. Nobody was able to help me but me. And this is how spirit taught me. And I went in and there was this bright yellow area, which is your solar plexus, but everything was yellow. It's like I was in this yellow room all of a sudden. And there was a snake in the room. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a snake in my solar plexus. I'm like, this is crazy. What am I seeing? Because it like scared me. My first instinct was this is negative. It was not the case. But that's what I thought. And the snake was black and red striped, I think. Yeah, this was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago now. And it was very yellow area and the snake was black and yellow, black and red. And the next thing I know, I started throwing up this snake energetically. It's like I energetically throw up, cough and puke kind of a thing. That happened to me. That was one of the first things. And I didn't understand that. And then I started realizing that that's when I was being forced to heal myself. And I tried to research that, and not a lot of people know what that is. There is things you can do with snakes that are negative. Like I put a spell on you, you know what I mean? Like there is dark energy. People use energy for darkness. It's the same energy, really, but it's just the intention behind it that becomes an issue. And some people do use it to cause harm. And so you can, you know, have snakes around you with the intent of harm, either from somebody else or from opening it up into your own energy. Usually, though, we're allowing it in somehow, no matter who it comes from. So that's a good thing to know. But this instance was not the case. I've actually had 3 more snake upgrades since then, but it represents an energy upgrade, power upgrade. So I was throwing up this snake and it was painful. You know, it was like weird and painful, and I didn't know what was happening to me because everything was happening to me. Then I went from that to doing things to the earth. So another time I went into meditation, and all of a sudden there was a God with me, or an angel. And I'm like, who is this? And they're like, Hermes. And I'm like, oh, Hermes, I believe is a God, right? And so I was trying to process that. And then next thing I know, he was giving me like this gold belt, and he had these like gold, it was like wings or whatever it is on his boots or something, or his sandals, and on his belt. And he gave me the belt. Then I sat on Saturn, the rings of Saturn. And I had this contract that popped into my vision, and I had to clear the contract, and the contract was written by me. And I'm like, what is happening? And then I heard Atlantis. And apparently when I drowned in Atlantis, I wrote a contract that said it would never rise again. I was so angry at what happened to me and the kids that I tried to save, my family, that I apparently wrote a contract that Atlantis would never rise again. So I had to clear that, and I saw myself drowned. It was like a reverse drowning. I don't know how else to put that. And Atlantis comes up several times through the journey as well, through my workshops and stuff, if you pay attention to them. I do upload them on this channel, and I'm going to show you some things today. So I'm going to show you a pyramid activation too. They want me to show you that is in relation to the Nile. I'm just trying to tell you some specific things they want me to tell you in relation to the journey that led to me there. Okay. Because bringing about the ascension is the return of Christ. So everything I talk about is relevant to what that means and is really good information for all of us to know, including myself. So I love that. That's why I love these. I'm like, oh, this is good information. And I learn as I go. They give me insight into what to look into. And then I get these downloads and it makes sense. Okay. And then I will validate it through whatever's out there and it blows your mind. So that's how I do it. So after I cleared the contract, we lassoed Atlantis. It was like I was sitting on Saturn, and this was the time when Saturn was closest to the planet a few years ago. Remember that time where Saturn was the closest to the Earth that had ever been in circulation, and it was a big deal, right? Like all energies were super, super heightened at that time, right? Everybody's was, remember. And that's the time frame when that one happened. And I was sitting on Saturn and we lassoed Atlantis. It was weird. And Hermes was standing next to me. And I threw the lasso and I was on Saturn, the rings of Saturn. And I remember digging my heels in and I pulled it up out of the water. Okay. Then after that, on 11/11 of 2020, this is important because this goes with the Nile stuff as well. On 11/11 of 2020, I cleared Mount Shasta. I hadn't activated pyramids yet. They wanted me to do a shadow healing workshop. And so I'm like, okay, I can do that. So it's part of the shadow. When I realize now and look back now, there was way many more pieces of the shadow that I was healing. And you can actually purchase this one on my website to heal in. I didn't realize that it is on my website still. But I went to Mount Shasta. You can purchase that one and partake in the healing of that one on my website. But that was 11/11 of 2020. I did upload that video on my channel as well. I will show you where to find that for those that don't know, because it's important. I will also show you where I get all this stuff from. Everything I show you today is going to be relevant. Okay. So this is my YouTube channel. For those that don't know, generally, if you're finding me, you're finding me from this channel. But common sense, right, Bree? Okay, yeah, that's my real name is Brianna. So I have an Ascension work playlist that I have, and I try to keep it updated with everything that's most important. But in truth, everything on my channel, if you go back from the very beginning, go backwards through my channel, you'll see the Ascension unfolding through me. You can't not if you're watching. Clearing Mount Shasta, this one was done on 11/11 of 2020. It is a workshop. You can watch the whole entire thing. It is the video recording of it, which sometimes lately I've been doing the audio recording because it's personal to people. Okay, because people do join these workshops and go with them, go through them with me. You can tell I have no idea what's coming ever. They always tell me it's something, and then something amazing comes through. Like in the very latest workshop, when I did the Nile, I had no idea that was coming either. I was doing a workshop for Patreons. We were just doing our monthly healing. And I think I said they were giving us gifts. So it was just supposed to be about gifts. And they did that. Half of that one was them giving me gifts and those that were with me. But after we rose Atlantis, I cleared Mount Shasta. Then it went into not long after, by February, so November, December, January, February, I activated the first pyramids, which was Fiji. Activating pyramids, I actually go in and use my light to do it. Okay, and so doing those actually did make me sick. My heart became enlarged at one point. I had gone to the hospital and everything, and they told me that during it. But I kept getting healings on my heart throughout. And I was like, the doctor scared me. So I never went back. And it turns out it's better. So do the healings work? Yes. But the first pyramid I activated was Fiji. This is the actual workshop. You can click on it and watch it. Not a lot of people have yet. This one is also the God's portal. Okay, and I opened and activated that in February of 21. Again, witnessed. A majority of the people that do the workshop are still with me to this day and comment a lot in the videos and under the videos and things. They are very real human beings. So I would just ask that you guys do your research, just at least watch the videos and maybe keep any negative comments to yourself, because it doesn't just hurt me or the people that you're making them towards, because these things are very real and they happened to me and through me and everybody that went with me. And not only that, we were all blown away and we've all gone through a lot of healing, and this journey is not always easy. So it's like, it's hurt me a lot. Then here's also something very important I want to talk about today, because that we need the DM for something. Okay. And I put this together this morning. The DM is very important and needed right now, because unless we come together. So in the Nile, in the end of the Nile video, which I'll show you that one, it's a workshop we just did recently in like June 24th. They put the Eye of Ra together in the Eye of Horus. Now that's relevant because we're going to talk about Sekhmet too. Okay. They put the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus together. Now, after I did Fiji, I started doing things to the sun. So I think this one was Lake Titicaca. I can't remember. I've done something in Lake Titicaca where I undid these like light codes they had trapped here. And so if you go back to the time in the Bible, and I just got the download of this, this is a new piece of information, and this is very important for the DM, because after the Nile, everything makes sense. It's like all of the veil is gone. But if you, I learned recently, because they told me when I activated Ecuador, that's another pyramid of a recent time frame, the masculine ones, that I was Sekhmet in a past life. And I had to download that, like I had to understand that. Then when we did the Nile, which came almost a month later, I became Sekhmet and cleared that life because she was murdered. And that's when I put all that together. Okay, so the return of Christ is truly the return of every lifetime where power was taken from God. And there were a few lifetimes. So I want you to consider Jesus and Mary Magdalene is the same lifetime as Adam and Eve, and is the same lifetime as Sekhmet. Because in the Bible, I've put this together recently. And again, I don't read the whole Bible. This is what I've been shown from Spirit. And this is what I've gathered from bits of the Bible that I have seen that validated what Spirit showed me. So when I was Sekhmet, Horus was my twin flame. That would have been my twin flame. It's the sun and the moon god. In this lifetime, I had to undo the false concept of the sun. I had to undo the false concept of the moon. Now listen to this, because this came after Fiji. I did something to the sun to return it to normal. I did something to the moon to return it to normal. And both of these are workshops. Please watch them. And it may actually help you, because we need the Eye of Horus and the Eye of Ra to come together for everybody to see clearly. My DM is absolutely needed. He's affecting humankind because he's not stepping forward. And I love him. Not only do we need him for that, I love him. I long for this person. And it'd be so cool if he just did step forward. I would love that. But him not stepping forward is what's causing a veil to still be over people, because we need both eyes to come together. So in the time of Sekhmet, Sekhmet was actually murdered through what the darkness does to manipulate you. When I went through this last portal, I am now currently walking those lessons, and I'm having to choose the light, because I talked about the 12 gates. I did a video on that recently, okay, where I talk about the importance of the 12 gates. I may not have included it in here yet in the playlist. It is one of my very new videos, okay? The 12 gates are what you have to pass through. When I did the Nile, that's what they talked about. That's what I learned. Oh my goodness, I didn't put the Nile in here either. So all this is new. So I'll just have to go to my front of my page and you'll see them. I'll show you that in a minute. But this is making sense, okay? My whole journey is making sense. And all of it in total is the return of Christ, and that's the ascension. So I say I am the one who brought it about. Each time I activated pyramids, those are portals that I was activating. Fiji is a portal that was also the God portal. Okay. So each time you go through the 12 gates, which is in Revelations 21:12 that I learned after all I did this, you have lessons that you have to battle within light and dark, and you have to choose the light each time. That's why they say it's about growth. It's about choosing the light every time, because essentially you have 13 gates to get through, not 12. And they had 12 gates of darkness. Okay. And they came through the 12 gates, and in different lifetimes murdered light, basically killed God. Now, Jesus and Mary Magdalene was one of the lifetimes. I had to clear that on Christmas this year. I did that. Okay. After all the pyramid activations, I did the sun and the moon, which was necessary. In the time of Sekhmet, Thoth came in and took the moon basically away from Horus. Sekhmet is the sun and the moon. Horus was a representation of the sun and the moon. I'm a sun god. That's what they call me. That's what they've said for Sekhmet. And so my DM was also the god of the moon. And we were both. That's a twin soul. Okay, this is making sense to me now. You guys have to pay attention. The proof is all in the work that I've done. Please watch the videos. Okay, that's why I tell you. You can't just get, I want proof in the physical. If you watch my videos, I give you that too. They give you proof in real time through the work that I do. When I activated the Congo, which is important for the Nile, we recently activated more pyramids. This one, Colombia, British Columbia, Congo, Mount Kilimanjaro. We also did Ecuador. And this one, that's when they told me I was Sekhmet. And we also did the Democratic Republic of the Congo. That's the Congo, right? Now that's relevant for the Nile. These we just did a month ago. This was the around the world excursion with the masculine energy, not his physical self. I wish it would have been. You know, he's got a gift. He's been given a gift from God, and I just wish he would use it wisely, because we need the masculine and feminine eyes to come together in order for everybody to see clearly, because that's what happened when Sekhmet was murdered. Okay, it's in the Bible. So I cleared Adam and Eve first. We started clearing that. Then I united the twin flames, which was me and my DM, and Jesus and Mary Magdalene, who had been ripped apart. And then I cleared the false Holy Grail, which was a contract written in Jesus's blood. This happened on Christmas on my channel. Okay, live. This one happened live workshop on Christmas on my channel this Christmas. Okay. Resurrection of Christ, uniting twin flames, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and undoing the Holy Grail. I thought that was the return of Christ. It was not just that. It was everything that I've done, because I've been clearing karma back to Adam and Eve. I've said that. That's what my DM and I are supposed to do. And unite. And we wrote new contracts. And my first DM died, and I have a new one that's supposed to step forward. The first one was being attacked by fallen angels. This new one is not. It makes me feel less than worthy, I'll tell you. After I did something to the sun and the moon, I undid the false concept of time. I told you, if you guys look at my entire channel, the process of the ascension is there. It is clearer to see the 12 gates, the 13 gates you have to get through for heaven on earth, because I have now opened up the gates of heaven. It started with raising Atlantis, clearing Mount Shasta, which was a false energetic portal. I cut off life support to California, opened Fiji, the pyramid there, which is a portal, and the God portals. Okay. Then I did something to the sun and the moon. And here's a meditation you can use to heal in that too. And then I undid the false concept of time. In the time of Sekhmet, the moon was commandeered. They did something to your moon. If you watch the Truman Show, Spirit told me to watch that during that time frame too, because I'd never seen that before. It really does go with it. Because then they also talk about he was trying to escape to Fiji in there, you guys. He was trying to escape to Fiji in there. And I had never watched that movie until after I did the work. So I did something to the sun, then the moon. And in that movie, they were on the moon watching people. And when I undid the moon, there was a satellite that fell out of the sky. And I said in there that the next time they try to listen in on you, their ears were going to bleed. So if you still don't believe who I am, please watch the videos. You gotta watch the videos, okay? Because something happens from beginning to end of each workshop. It is layered, okay? Spirit works in layers. And if you don't know anything about energy, what you put out in the energy, this is how manifestation works. This is how everything works. What you put out into the energy comes back in return. So what I do in these workshops is happening in real time, and then it plays out in your environment in return. That, and only a supreme being can do that. They say that many times to me. I didn't see it coming. I just still couldn't put it together who I was. In here, when I took us into 7D, this was the first part of that. I activated the dormant chakra system because that's something extra that I did that I wasn't supposed to do originally. But I got attacked by my DM. They tried to kill me. I survived. My DM did not, through the fallen angels. These are more activations for the pyramids. These are all female pyramids right here. And every portal you're going to have to go through regardless. This one was the Sphinx, which is the portal of time. And apparently I made that one. God activation portal. Okay, that was the portal of time, which I used several times over. So you have to undo the false concept of time. The portals are essentially levels of awakening. I talk about that in one of my newest videos. Let me show you where you can find all that. I talk about the portals more and more, okay, because this is a new download for me. This is the return of Christ. It was not done, where I understood that it wasn't just Jesus or Mary Magdalene, because then I cleared the Nile recently. This was the workshop where I recently cleared the Nile. Okay. Workshop on 6/24/23, urgent Nile turns to blood. I didn't know that workshop was coming. If you go back on my channel and look at the videos, I had no idea. Okay. 2 weeks ago, I got a download about the Ankh and what the Ankh really is, and really what the cross was, and what they're doing to you by representation of Jesus on the cross. They're mocking the shit out of you because this is the true cross. And I got that download first. Then we did the Nile workshop, which was really just a Patreon healing workshop for my Patreon members. And they can tell you that. They were real individuals, which is why I just put the audio recording, which I do have both audio and video recordings of everything I do. Now, this one is something I did on 11/22/22. This one was more pyramid activations I have not shown you guys in Nigeria. And when you go into the Nile video, so all the pyramid activations, the portal of time, which was the Sphinx, everything, the union of my twin flame and I, which he's holding, he's actually hurting everybody, unfortunately. I don't think he understands that though. So it's not like I blame him. I'm hoping this helps spark that light, you know, and give him that passion that God gave him a purpose. And it's not about pleasing others. It's about pleasing our heart. Okay. And doing things into the light right now. But the thing is we need him and I to come together. Now in this one, they say they bring the two eyes together. Okay. In the Bible, in the time of Sekhmet and Horus were the sun and the moon gods and goddesses. Okay. And I was Sekhmet. I was murdered in that lifetime. I didn't know that until 6/24/23. Okay. It's a lot, but please watch the videos. All the proof is here. You just have to watch the videos. Again, I did an audio upload because there's people who do the workshops with me. These are workshops that I record through Zoom. They are very real. And the people that are in them, you know, may not want all of their stuff known. And since it's a workshop, we talk and we do things like that too. So I try to keep their stuff out of what I do. You know, that's why I put them out here the way that I do. If you watch the videos, I'll try to hide their faces in the workshop. That explains that. Okay. Do I have the proof of everything I do? If you watch the videos recently, I did a video on the submersible. It was in one of them. Which one was the submersible in? I talk about the submersible when I talk about the Ankh. That's what they're saying. So in the video of the Ankh, let's look at the title here. This is important. I just hope people are paying attention. Look at This is what they had me talk about that day. Truth about the Ankh, the true cross. What happened to it? I talk about that. Something big is coming, which I didn't see coming yet, but it was the Nile. And will submersible be found? So I asked Spirit in the video, right around the 13-minute mark, you can watch it for yourself, about the submersible. And they literally said, here, let's see. I think it's right here. Let's see.
So lots of people are leaving California, okay? And then I asked about that submersible missing submarine thing. That's that Titanic vessel that is currently exploring, or whatever, the Titanic. Now, these people had money, and they put a lot of money into going down into the ocean to explore it. And I asked Spirit, are they going to be found? And I got a no. And then I said, oh, I got really sad. And I'm like, I was hoping for a yes. And then they said it began to implode and it was attacked by a species.
Now, a day after that video, they said it imploded, and it shocked the crap out of me. I'm like, that's exactly the word that I used. You know, and I did a video on that too. What I said happened to the submersible happened. Okay, literally, I think 24 hours from the time I did that video, they said it imploded. Same exact words that I said. So I'm like, not only that, when I did the video, got to keep following me here. It's a lot. This is how Spirit works. This is why God says you need to pay more attention to what's going on around you and less to the distractions, because they're purposeful. Now, recently, I did a video where I uploaded a workshop. What was I going to talk about? I don't know. It's in these, whatever I was just about to talk about. And for some reason I had a brain fart. This one is part 1 of this one. Okay. Activating Masculine Pyramids, part 1, Ecuador workshop, around the world excursion. Every Saturday for 4 weeks, I activated pyramids, and I got sick from doing this one too, because my DM did not come with me. Energetically though, he did. And because of that, we were able to get them done. So in this one, they tell me I was Sekhmet in the beginning of it. This is a video, you see, during another lifetime. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. So then I started looking up things about Sekhmet. And then we activate Ecuador. We also moved the equator line. Okay. In this one, oh yeah, no, it was in this one is what I was going to talk about, which was where I kept saying Krakatau. I activated the pyramids in Colombia, the Congo, Mount Kilimanjaro. We also did ones in Kenya. And that is that other file too, because I did ones before in Africa. Okay, now I'm putting this together for the Nile because I've had to do research after these come through because I don't know what's happening to me. So in the workshop recently, keep in mind, these were like a month ago, May, June, I did the Nile, and now we're in the beginning of July. Okay. So that's how my awakening's been happening to me since 2019. From 2019 on, you have literally on this channel, everything that's been happening to me, pretty much. Okay. In the Ascension playlist, I try to give you the essentials, but there's more out there. So you can see, like from years ago, this started happening to me. Jesus, there was 2 parts or more parts to the return of Christ through the Jesus lifetime. So we have the return of Christ through Sekhmet lifetime, the return of Christ through Jesus and Mary Magdalene, the return of Christ through Adam and Eve. And I have played all of those out through me. And I've done it through activating all these portals and clearing out the entire collective shadow. Now the 12 gates are the gates that everybody has to pass through in order to get through the gates of heaven, which I opened in the Nile one. Okay, so I'm going to show you key parts again in the Nile video. And then I'm going to give you the pyramid activations that I hadn't shown you yet. And I don't know what's in that one. I have not watched it since then, but they want me to show you it. You can purchase that one as well on my website for the healing, because these are important portals that you must heal through and you must ascend through. And unfortunately, a lot of people won't make it. And I talk about that. And that's because, number one, not everybody was meant to be here. Some people don't reside in God's light to begin with. Number two, some people just won't choose the light. Okay, they've made too many choices into darkness. They want to choose the darkness, and they don't really, because they can't see clearly, which is what breaks my heart. Because when you heal and you awaken enough, you can really see what's going on. So that's why we need the DM, because with him not coming together and doing a healing on Mount Shasta with me and having the eye of Horus and Ra together, which is what plays out in this latest workshop with me. Okay. And that's where they tell me about the 12 gates, and actually are 13 and everything else. And they call me the Queen of the Nile, and I turn the Nile blood red and dry it up. And I had to learn about all of this because it happened to and through me, just like everything else I've done. And it's all come in order since 2019. That's who I am. Okay. They call me the one, whatever it is, whoever I am. I'm not just Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I've lived out every lifetime so far. And I told you guys, all of you are supposed to clear your karma from every lifetime as well. You have to get through the 12 gates, 13 gates in truth, clearing all your karma, making choices into the light. It's like an individual battle that you must go through of your own shadow, and you must learn to heal it and make choices into the light through each one. And this is why not everybody will make it. Okay. People even dislike these videos because what? You don't like the fact of what I've done? You don't like the return of Christ? Or are you not watching for the evidence and you're just judging? Either way, none of those are God. And I am emotional about it. Here is the Nile. Okay. I'm going to give you little pieces of this one that are important. And then I'm going to let you finish this one off for those who want to watch. This is for those who care. This is for those who can see the truths and want to see the truths and who want to watch and want to care about what God has done. Okay. And so that's all I ask is just keep your heart open. And maybe if you found it, there's a reason. So watch it. And even if it doesn't fully make sense now, watch it again. Put the things in your pocket. Don't judge. Just maybe put it in your pocket and hold on to it for a minute. And then look for the proof, because when I activated the pyramids in Congo, British Columbia, Kenya, Mount Kilimanjaro, I activated a pyramidal grid underneath them. And when I did that, I kept saying Krakatoa, Krakatoa, Krakatoa. And I'm like, why am I saying Krakatoa? And I'm like, Krakatui. And then 6 days later, the volcano Krakatoa erupted. So if you're watching my videos, the proof is there, because that played out on my channel. Everything I've done plays out on my channel, and spirit gives proof within them. Literal proof. I will say things are coming. I will say things are going to happen, and boom, they do. When I undid the false concept of the moon, I said a satellite was going to fall, and literally within, I don't know, remember how long, it was like 18 hours, maybe, a satellite fell in Oregon. That you have to look at that video and then look at the things underneath, because I put a link to that story. So the proof is there. You just have to watch my channel. Okay. But people don't. They go into judgment, which is not of God. Period. It is not of God. 3459, Queen of the Nile. So watch this video. This is the workshop. This is the audio version. I will show you right now. I have another version of it. That one was 623 or 624, I do believe, of 23. So look, these are all my Zoom files. These are all my workshops. These are all the work that I keep doing continually for the ascension that spirit puts through me. And all I had to do was accept who I was, allow myself to be myself, and change the world. And my DM, for some reason, is not wanting to do the same. The first one, it was a fallen angel. And this one, I just hope he realizes that I love him. I want to give him all the love in the world. But does he not see that by his eye and mine eye not coming together, people can't see clearly? This is what it started. The removal of God from earth was Sekhmet. Adam and Eve was the first one. Okay, that was Atlantis. Sekhmet was another lifetime where they killed Sekhmet. The Thoth took the moon from Horus. And that's where, if you look at what I've done in this lifetime, I had to take back the moon. Then I woke up my DM and he was being attacked by a fallen angel and died. It's all there, you guys, and it's blowing my mind because I can see it. I can see clearly now. The rain has gone. Okay. And that's what I was always like, this is so weird. If you look at everything I've done, I rose Atlantis. That was Adam and Eve's karma. That was the return of Christ from that time frame, which I have cleared. That is me having to see the shadow and how the shadow works and not allow it to mess with me. Each layer is something different within that, which is what I'm dealing with now with Sekhmet. Okay. Then it was Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and that's when the sun and the moon came in. I had to fix those. I was activating all the female pyramids first, and then my DM and I met. That's why I had to move to where I moved, and then I woke him up. But I couldn't do that until I undid the false concept of the moon, you guys. And if you watch the Truman Show, it's all right there for you. He's trying to escape to Fiji, which I activated the pyramid in Fiji after I undid Mount Shasta. This is amazing. I wish you guys, I hope people understand this and see this, because this is like everything. Well, then they're saying it's not everything, but it's a big chunk of reality. Okay. This one was surprise Patreon healing, which was done on 6/24/23. This was the audio copy of my workshop that I did in Fiji. Length 1 hour, 11 minutes. Did you see that? I just noticed that. 1 hour and 11 minutes. Here is the video recording of that. And there were people in the workshop with me. Okay. 6/24/23. I'm not going to show you that one again. I just wanted to show the proof that this is all mine. And the reason I put the audio on here instead of the video, because somebody made a comment about that I was not telling the truth, basically, is because there's people in the workshop and I try to keep them a little bit more private. Not to mention, it takes me a lot longer to edit out the video because I have to cover their faces, which is what I did in my other videos you can watch of my workshops. Okay. There will be shapes and yellow squares and blockouts because it's the people that were in my workshop. So when I upload a video of it, it's a lot more complicated and timely for me than it is to just simply upload the audio. So that's why I did it that way this time. Doesn't mean I don't have the video version. Doesn't mean I don't have the witnesses that actually partook in the workshop, and not only that workshop, but every workshop before. So I just ask that you guys take the time with what you hear on here. And if you look through everything I've done, it goes with the Bible. It comes through me and happens to me since 2019, 2020, when I started clearing Mount Shasta, activating Fiji, cut off California's life support. That was a false portal filled with dead souls, darkness. Then I undid the false concept of the sun. I undid the false concept of the moon. I've had to do things to the moon and the sun several times, including bring down the light from the sun several times. And then we have the flares. It goes with every one that I do. And they always warn something's coming and then something does. Undid the false concept of time. Then I activated more pyramids, more pyramids, more pyramids, the Sphinx activation, which was the portal of time. Then I talk about what gateway it is, and I give you healing music to get through them. Was doing missing persons to clear those out of the karma too. This is where I cleared the collective shadow. I have a course you can do to clear the collective and the individual. I think this one was Euphrates, and I do believe that might be the time frame it was really drying up. Atlantis is being reborn. This is where they told me it was Lake Titicaca, because that's where I died and I got the white flame back. And that happened when I activated the dormant chakra system for 7D, which took us into me activating us into 7D right here and anchoring us in, which I found out we were in Pleiades galaxy. So I didn't even know that until then. Apparently I took us to Pleiades. This was the workshop where Jesus and Mary Magdalene were united, and I cleared the unholy grail, which was this Christmas. My DM died, the first one. The second one, I really wish he would take his power back and just know that he's needed and wanted and has a huge purpose. And without choosing to do it, he's actually choosing into darkness. That's why he won't be able to ascend, they said yesterday. So here we are again. We may lose somebody else because nobody's choosing the light. This is why God said not everybody will make it through every gateway, is you must choose the light through every challenge. And if your concern is people's judgment, if your concern is what others are going to think of you, then that is not of the light. You are not letting light be the choice. Do you understand? Because it doesn't matter. This is the end. And that's what the Nile represents completely, which is what I have just done. Okay. The Nile, I learned, represents the end. I didn't know that right away, which is why on my channel, I go on and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, I just did a workshop where I cleared the Nile. And I'm like, I kept talking about 12 gates. And so I had to research the 12 gates. This is when I came on and talked about it. I was just processing it. Okay. The Nile, the 12 gates of abundance. And that's when I looked it up, and it is in Revelations 21:12, but they tell me there's actually 13 gates in the Nile one. So if you look at everything I've done, it's all there, and it makes so much sense to me. From the time of Sekhmet, they commandeered the moon. In this lifetime, I've had to undo the false concept of the moon, the false concept of the sun. They give you movies about your destruction and the shit that they do to you, and then they laugh at you when you drink it and you go to communion and you hang crosses on your walls of what they did to Jesus because he was murdered very painfully. And then they took his blood and wrote a false contract. So you've been living basically in hell, and everybody's still choosing darkness. Why? Right? Like, why would we? I need the DM to see he's very important. He's very important, not only to stop my suffering and pain, because I need him more than anything in this world right now. And I just want to feel that love more than anything in this world right now. But everybody will be able to see clearly when he and I come together, because that is the eye of Ra. That is the completion of the sun and the moon coming back together. The God of the moon and the God of the sun and the goddess of the moon and the goddess of the sun, because he's my twin soul, the masculine counterpart of who I am. Are we Jesus and Mary Magdalene? In one of our lifetimes. You guys, I've told you when I activated all the masculine pyramids that all of our lifetimes were being combined into one. That's when I got that download. We are playing out all of our lifetimes karma through each portal. God read your heart. It's a heart review. I said that was happening through Judgment Day, right? And through the choices you've made into the dark, you have to now undo those choices into the light through each of the 13 tests, 13 portals that we go through Ascension, which is awakening. And the DM not coming together is blocking one. Now, I love him. This is not to speak badly of him. I don't know that he knows this. And I want him to have a fire lit under his ass and to realize it's the darkness keeping him down from God's light. Just like any of those who make judgment and don't do the research on my video. Do you really want to let what is not of the light overtake you when you can't see clearly where we're really going? So at 34:59 in the Nile workshop right here, something important happens. We're going to watch that, okay? I actually, in the beginning of this workshop, they're giving me gifts, lots and lots of gifts. All the way up until this point is when I mention the Nile. So they take my feet and they put me in water, okay? And then I mention the Nile. So I'm going to start right about here. And you can watch this whole video. I encourage you to do so, because that's how spirit is. Everything is very detailed and then layered. The more you watch, the more you see as well, okay? That's how it works. That's how downloads works, how everything works. So we're going to start a little bit ahead of it at 33:21 and see what it says.
From what I went through, and the causal chakra. So I go through it in the back of my head. And just be mindful of any pressure you feel. Just breathe. Whoa, I can feel all that. And you guys, by the way, are sitting like next to me. So I'm on this chair, my DM is, and then you guys are sitting a little bit lower and next to me. That's how I'm seeing it energetically. Wait, Julia. And God is like sprinkling it with light and love everywhere. It's just light and love everywhere. And now they're taking my hand. You guys are staying, my DM is staying, they're taking my hand. And I'm walking to a different area with them, but I'm not leaving. I'm in the same space.
It's important.
And so there's all of a sudden like this pond, like this water, like a well type of thing, but like a big pool type of thing. And there's a couple steps down into it, but it's not deep. So I'm like holding my dress up, and they want me to stand in the middle of it. I don't know why. And they're calling me the Queen of the Nile.
Oh, that's when it starts coming
The
in.
Queen of Life, of existence, and removing all resistance.
I'm just watching this now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot that.
This is no little thing that you have done. No little thing at all. This is still bigger than you know, and being recognized by all. Maybe not human, but all that matter at this time. Soon all will see who you are. Open up your energy and don't be afraid, dear one. For it is time. It is time. And now they're beginning to take the stuff from the cauldron. So they have gathered 3 cups for you guys and one for my GM as well. He gets one too, which I'm really.
So I told you they were giving us gifts throughout. All the angels were like lining up, and gods and goddesses, and they were putting gifts into this cauldron. And then that's when they took me to the water as well. And I didn't realize, I didn't put this together until after what was happening, because it happened to and through me. And if you watch my channel, you can see that. And in there several times I talk about, oh no, there's 13 gates, not 12. Okay. I become shocked in one part of it. The gates will open up at 52:50. Let's see, I'm trying to remember when it turned blood red. The Nile goes dry at 59:46. Okay, 47 and 48 are the eyes of Ra. So we'll go there. Blood red down the Nile is at 45. So we'll go to 45 and then 47 and 48. Okay, so they put me in the water. Then they called me the Queen of Nile, and I didn't see this coming. I'm still processing this for what this means. And if you go into judgment, you're going to miss an opportunity and it's going to hurt you. So please, please don't. Just watch these videos. Okay. It turns blood red at 45. So we'll start there.
They all put their. And for my feet, this I guess would be only mine. Okay, they're finishing up your cups, by the way. All that liquid and gifts pouring into you guys. And they're drawing a path for my feet. It's a golden line. And that is all I can walk is an abundant line. They're removing anything else outside of that. And then I see the Nile, blood red down the Nile, blood red down the Nile, cleansing the Nile. By it, get on with you, what I see. Well, yeah, get
I love my DNA.
yeah. The embrace of Sekhmet, so it's kind of what I see. It's like blood in the flow. Cleansing the earth. The Nile is red.
Just like,
oh, I am in full power. The only thing making it stronger is when my DM comes through. And now like this, almost like this. Kind of like you'd see in the Egyptians, kind of this beautiful armor type thing going over me. And now they're closing up your chakras. You did receive healings and activations and DNA activations. And Metatron is balancing out your Merkaba. He's making sure it's receptive and everything is working properly. Remember, we have the new chakras also.
so coming soon, I talk about the eye.
Gates of abundance.
See, 13 gates.
That is dark, not 12. 12 is false.
Yep.
We were like blocked from God's heavenly grace, kind of a thing, because it wasn't here. They took it away. Yeah, look at that. And pay attention to where they used the number 13. They were using it as a weapon. For they are truly powerless in truth. And you guys, they poured your liquid down into your energy, the healings have occurred, and now they're like dancing around, just dancing around all of us, and still sprinkling things. So you know how like Tatanka would throw things in a fire? That's kind of how I see it. So you might remember that. Like Tatanka would go around and throw different things in the fire, and it'll with different colors. It's kind of like that. They're going around and sprinkling like all these colors, and it's magic. It's what they're calling. It's magic. Magic potions. Remember I said Merlin was here? It's kind of like that. It's like a magic potion. There's more. Keep watching.
Yeah, this little part.
Rest assured, all your dreams are coming true. Be careful what your dreams are. Speak of the heart only. And I see the eye of Ra, but that makes sense for Sekhmet.
Mm-hmm. The eye of Horus is the other
And
one.
then my DM has the other side. And it's like two eyes coming together. And he got an ankh on his neck as well.
He and I carry the ankh.
We carry and then I see all of their crosses like burning. They were false. Wow. And they're like dancing this.
Now the Nile runs dry at 59. So there's stuff that keeps happening in here.
Now all of you are getting something on your left wrist as
59, 26, the Nile runs
It could be a
dry.
cloth, it could be jewels of some sort, it could be many things. The left is our heart. And then it's like the Nile runs dry. It just dried up completely.
So I filled it with, they put my feet in the water, then I filled it with blood after they called
And
me
then I
to
see
the Nile.
myself as Sekhmet, and I stand up, and I'm going to say something to the earth at this time, to the collective soul.
Check this out.
It gets Shua. Baba kite Shua. Yeah, I was murdered in that lifetime. I can't get and that soul just went away. And then I see like almost like an atomic bomb would go off, and you see this wave of like energy just went across the collective whole, the collective soul. With what I said. It's time to rise, to rise, to rise. It's time to rise. And I just turned the sun a quarter turn.
I do that a lot. And I'll pull down chunks to the earth. A lot.
There's something in the earth. I'm sticking my hand down in the earth and I'm removing it. It was a false crystal, or at least not of the light. It's quite dark. It's filled with dark And I'm pulling it. I'm reaching down into the earth and it's cracking and moving. And I'm pulling this crystal out of the earth. And it's filled with black light. And in front of all, in front of everybody, they have to see me now. I crushed this crystal and it just exploded across the collective soul. And I sit down in my throne. And I stand tall again. Yeah. I still feel it. My soul is set free from Sekhmet.
See?
Coming back to make friends.
I had to clear every lifetime.
Now I take the correct crystal, which they thought they destroyed, and they did not. I grabbed the pieces they tried to explode, and I put them back together now. And now it is reformed. It is filled with everything. All universal flow and the power of God will now ignite. You are eating. I am opening up the earth, and it is going into the center of the core. This is what always belonged.
Completed the crystal.
And I put it in its place. Now we take it the
So in every workshop I do, I activate a portal. I've returned crystals many times. When I did the one where Mount Kilimanjaro, it's recent, okay? It's the masculine pyramids with my DM and I. We did Ecuador first. This was part 1 of it, okay? And then in this one, we did Kilimanjaro, Colombia, Congo. Now this is also with the Nile. That's what I'm going to show you today. Is the Nile runs through the areas where I've activated all the pyramids. Not only that, and I didn't put it together. I've never really related Africa with Egypt until now, where I'm forced to. And the Nile is life support, and they call me the Queen of the Nile, the Queen of Life. They put my feet in the water, but the Nile started coming into play well before I did the Nile. And so if you're paying attention at all and watching the videos, you're going to see this too, because I'm realizing this because I went through it all. Okay. They told me I was Sekhmet when I did Ecuador. I talked about that, but that makes sense because Sekhmet made the portal of time, which is why it's like the lion god kind of looking thing. Now in this one, I also undid another the White House, the darkness of the White House. And I talk in there how they have to now feel their own wrath and see their own suffrage, and how I've blocked off their escape routes. So nobody can escape their own karma. Nobody can try to escape the wrath of God. Nobody will be able to escape it. It doesn't matter who you are. And I talk about that in here. I talk about how all your lifetimes come together for a reason right now. It is longer, but it's important to take the time to watch these things, because this is God. And if we don't follow what we're supposed to do and let go what is not meant to carry forward, we can't carry forward. And if the DM would step forward, he has a huge purpose right now. Huge. Okay. His purpose can't stop because of who he is. We carry the Ankh, and we must come together. Once we come together, he helps the rest of the collective wake up, because I talk about Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta was one of the very first portals that I did. And it is
Happening.
one that everybody must be able to go through for the ascension. And if the DM doesn't come together with me, do the healing that we need to do in Mount Shasta, and the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus come back together, which is the sun and the moon in union, then everybody can't see clearly and they may not make it through. So it does require my DM. That is why blood will be on his hands. That is why it's an urgency. And that is why they said yesterday, if he doesn't come through, he won't be able to ascend. And not only that, I take it personally. How am I not supposed to? Why won't he love me? It's like there's so much love here for us. I love him so much, and I just want to make him happy. Like that is like, it's this urgency that I feel. Like there's nothing harmful on this end, and I would do everything to feel beautiful and to be his queen. So I'm going to try to do my best to even work harder. It's the portal of Sekhmet. So I'll see if there's anything I'm doing wrong, which is why this course and this workshop tonight is also very important. And it looks like I'm losing everything on one hand. So since I went through that portal, it looks like I'm losing everything. You know, like literally all of a sudden I couldn't pay my rent. I couldn't do all these things. And I'm like, okay, so remember how they poured blood down the river? Well, right after I did check this out. Right after I did the Nile and I posted it on my channel, there was a river in Japan that turned red from an accidental beer plant leak. So in the Bible, it talks about they poured beer down the river to fool Sekhmet. And so right after I did the Nile workshop, literally the next day, I think it was, or shortly after I posted the video, that river turned blood red from a beer plant leak. Like, how can you make this stuff up? Okay. And then like there's a lesson here that I have to overcome for Sekhmet portal. And hopefully my DM will come through. Because it's a necessity. If he doesn't, we're all kind of in trouble with that. We can't fully awaken because he hasn't fully healed the Mount Shasta portal with me. He has to come together with me. He can't do it without me. And because he won't bring the eyes together, which is what happened to Sekhmet, the moon and the sun were taken. I was murdered, Horus was murdered, and they took the moon. And I actually had to clear that, just like Adam and Eve, I've had to clear, just like Adam and Eve, it was the addictions and things like that, and the false goddess. You guys, this makes so much sense. And now with Sekhmet, we have to finally bring the sun and the moon back together, because this is how they took God from earth. This is why the return of Christ is happening, how it's happening. And with the Nile, so I told you I've activated a lot of pyramids in Africa. Well, I didn't upload all of those. You know how Mount Shasta was done on 11/11 of 2020? Well, that was when Mount Shasta was done. Well, on 11/22/2022, I did another one. Now, if you pay attention to where the Nile is, it goes through Kenya, it's in Africa, right? It runs through Egypt and all that whole area. A lot of the pyramids that I have activated also do. The female ones to the masculine ones especially, okay? There is a video version of this. Again, it's a workshop, right? I have not edited it out, so I will just click on it to show you the video is very real. I don't know. It's kind of personal, right? Because there's people in the workshop. So I really don't want to show too much of that. Let's see if I can't skip a little bit. Oh, see, so that's what I'm saying. There's people in the workshop, and that is why I don't show the video. Okay. But this one was done on 11/22 of 22. So let's listen to the audio, because there's something in here they want you to know. So this was activating pyramids in Nigeria. These were the first ones that I activated in Africa, in Nigeria, and more. And it's also a double Merkabah healing for the earth. This is an ascension portal. This is necessary. You can purchase this one and the Mount Shasta one, but we need to complete this. The DM is actually hurting us, including me. Me too. So
hello, everybody. I'm just piecing myself together. I have a lot of ingredients, and I just found out where we're going, and I don't know what the heck this is about, but I actually passed out for like 45 minutes too. Like, this one's super powerful. So hello, I have got, I guess you guys can see my ugly noggin right now. Oh, look at that. I must have a background set. Let's see if I can. I'm gonna remove my virtual background. Hang on just a second. None. Here we go. Okay. Hola. I had no idea what was coming until I think just this morning. I don't know. I feel like I went through into a different world today. I don't know what's happening. I literally fell asleep. I laid down for a moment and I passed out. Thank God I woke up in time and I just feel out of this world. Then I started hearing all of these things. We're going to Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Nigeria. Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Nigeria are becoming awakened and activated, and other things. And my DM is very much so focused. Like this has been, that's probably why I knocked out. Like I feel like his healing just knocked me out. He and I are getting double Merkaba, so we're getting an extra Merkaba. So I guess we'll have two, which will affect all twin flames. Keep in mind, all twin flames won't have two Merkabas, but they're gonna feel it either way. So that's also coming today. I have his wand here of focus because I actually have to make a candle from the energy on today. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. This is the one I made for my twin flame. I love this one. It's so beautiful. I love the colors. I love the feel. It's here to receive today's energy and light. And then I have flowers galore, oils galore to put in this. It's going to be very powerful. So just know that that's happening. I have Lemuria cards, Oracle cards. There will be DNA activations because we're going into the ethereal. So all of us that'll be here, Amy will be here at some point, just so you guys are aware. So I will be calling in all of our energy. She'll pop in at some point because honestly, we're gonna all fill up with ethereal light. Okay, so this one's weird. First, we're gonna well, they're already activated. We're gonna do something to the already activated pyramids, kind of turn them really quick. Then our spirit selves, our energy is gonna go up in ons. So I just put my head on my pillow on my couch and I was out. I was like, oh my gosh. It's gonna dry in time. That was silly. I'm like, no, I have to make a candle from what is created in the day. I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. So blonde moments at their finest. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I noticed my video this morning was really strange. I don't even question it anymore. Sometimes it just does that. Just peek at the chat. Hello, we're good there. Okay, nothing major. All right. All right, so a little bit of rosemary going in. Hang on a second, let me grab my little dropper. Oh, okay. I'm just wiped. I don't know what is happening. There's major healing for my DM for sure. He has not had the access to all the pyramids like I have, so it's important for him to do so. Right, so 3 drops of that. I got running nose 172. I've been using turmeric and ginger, and oh boy, does it clear out your third eye. I'm like, Camomile's brand new. No, exactly good to go. Come on now, man. Go in the jar. You know you want to. You have a purpose. Okay. I have my gun. So just so you guys also know, is I've already opened up the energy. I know you're waiting a little bit, but I had to do this now. I had to wait till it was time, but I opened up the energy. I did a light language right before I came on as well.
So I'm just showing you a little bit of this so you guys can realize it's really a workshop. Okay, I haven't even listened to this one. But when you look at where, I want to show you something. I may actually wait to post that one next time. and actually show you guys that workshop on itself, because this video is getting a little long. So I might do that, but I wanted to show you guys that what I do is very real. Everything is in succession. It's very important. And the DM's purpose is larger than I even think he knows. And he is hurting us all by not coming, including me. I thought that it would be enough that he didn't want to hurt me, but I guess I was wrong. I don't know. So I do hope I can empower him the best I can and try to be the best version of myself I could possibly be. I don't know what else to do. I consider the Sekhmet portal, and that's what I'm trying to make sure that I'm complying through. And that's all I can do. But if you guys think this ascension isn't about the return of Christ, we're wrong, because it all plays out on my channel. This is the entirety of it. If you watch my channel, it starts with Adam and Eve, 11:11, which is Atlantis. And then it went to Jesus and Mary Magdalene. So all of these are different lifetimes of God, Sekhmet and Horus now. And Horus needs to step forward. And that's why if he doesn't step through this portal, he doesn't ascend. And then I don't know what's going to happen to me, and other people will not be able to see clearly either. This is why there's not everybody seeing clearly. If my DM would come together with me, then everybody could see clearly. So there's no need he should be nervous or worried about people judging him. And even if they did, it's not of God. That's not the light. It can't move forward. So this is very important. Okay. That is another workshop I will show you where I activated Nigeria. Okay. So in Nigeria, it went between Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Nigeria. Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Nigeria. And then when I did the masculine pyramids recently, those came up again in Kenya. And when you look at where the Nile is, it runs through that area. Okay. And I didn't realize this. I've never looked into it. The Nile is associated with Egypt. I was Sekhmet, and then all of a sudden they put me in water. Then the next thing I knew, the Nile turned blood red, which is all of the, I asked him what that meant, and it is me cleansing the blood off this planet. So that is all of the blood of those that won't stay and all of the things that I have cleared. And people want to dislike the video. So that tells me either A, it's invoking the darkness within them, which good on you. I'll do it again. I don't care. Let's get rid of that darkness. Or B, they're just not awake enough to see yet. And if the DM would come forward, they probably would have a huge awakening. They would, because we need to finish Mount Shasta and we need the two eyes to come together. So he has big work he hasn't done. If he wants to redeem anything, like we don't have the fallen angels as an excuse now. I don't understand. And if you don't believe me, my DM's been watching everything unfold. That's what they've told me. He's watched my channel. So he should be well aware. Not only that, I know he's awake. But the Nile does go through that whole area. Let's see if there's a map. Okay, I've activated pyramids all over Africa, Kenya, Congo. So we did the Democratic Republic of the Congo activations of the pyramids recently. I've done them, let's see. Egypt has the Sphinx, which is the portal of time. And I said when I was there that they're not happy with what people have done to Egypt, and they will feel it. So I saw sand opening up and people being swallowed. That happened, I think, when I did the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kilimanjaro activations. And so I stood at the hub of the Nile because it starts with the big like ocean, right? And then it goes down into the Nile. These are not the best pictures. There's probably a better map somewhere, which would be good to find. I looked up on my phone yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, this all makes sense now. Okay. We activated pyramids through there a lot. And then I also lightning struck, where did I lightning strike? When I first did it, I lightning strike somewhere in Africa. Was it Kenya or somewhere? And it has the hub of the Illuminati. Okay. So, and then the Nile River is significant in the Bible. It says when it turns red and dries up, it's the end. That represents the end of days. Okay. And if the DM thinks that he's, by not coming forward, he's helping anything, he's not. He's actually helping the darkness again, just like my other DM did. But my other DM did it very badly. I'm not sure my new DM understands all of this, but he should by now. Okay. Yep. Here's Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. So I had activated pyramids in Kenya and Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Botswana. I created one. Okay. That's kind of what I did. And then I said that was going to divide. Now, if you're paying attention, Africa has already been cracking. Oh, the equator line goes through there as well, which we moved the equator line through the masculine pyramids. So if you're actually watching my videos, the proof is there. And people don't even half the time have the capability of watching through the end of the videos. And so it's really sad. And maybe if the twin flame would step up, people would actually see, oh, she's not crazy. This whole entire story that unfolded that almost killed her was real. I don't know what else to say with this one. I will upload the other workshop on its own. You can purchase this one, is available for sale on my website because it's an important Merkaba activation for the Ascension. That was when I did the Nigeria one. In this workshop, which was 11/22 of 22, I will upload it separately tomorrow. Okay, thanks for watching to those that watch. This was something very important to share, and I hope the DM hears what he needs to hear and people can realize how important this journey is and who I really am, because we don't have much time left. That's why there will be blood on his hands. So I pray that, again, that I can be better for my DM. See you guys next time.